In Bed-Stuy, in Crown Heights, in Southeast Queens, and Harlem, these black homeowners are having their deeds to their homes stolen. It happens through fraud, through deception and solicitation. We are calling for Governor Hochul to enforce a temporary eviction moratorium on eviction proceedings for properties in New York City where there's a possibility of deed theft and fraud.
Welcome back to Inside City Hall. That was City Council member Chi Ossé rallying with advocates today and calling on Governor Hochul to take action that they say would help protect homeowners from deed theft. Now, deed theft is a scam where fraudsters take the title of a home without the homeowner's knowledge or approval. And it has become a major issue in our city as scammers target especially elderly homeowners who might not fully understand the documents that they are signing. City Council member Chi Ossé joins me now to talk more about this. His district in Brooklyn, the 36th district, includes all or part of Bedford-Stuyvesant and Northern Crown Heights, neighborhoods that have seen rising complaints of deed theft. Welcome back to the program. Good to see you.
Thank you so much for having me back.
You called off a lot of different neighborhoods, so it's not just your district that you're talking about. What ties them together? What makes these neighborhoods especially vulnerable to this kind of crime?
Absolutely. So working with the People's Coalition to Stop Deed Theft, this is a coalition that has organized and worked with various different individuals and homeowners who have dealt with potential deed theft. What we're seeing is that there's a trend within black communities, more specifically black seniors. We're seeing a targeting of communities where folks may not know their rights, where folks are being harassed because of their age. There are solicitors who are knocking on their doors with stacks of paper saying that they're going to help them pay off their mortgage, but within that stack of paper, folks are selling off their deeds. Black displacement has been running rampant within New York City for some time now. A huge source of that problem stems from deed theft.
You did the press conference today in front of the governor's office in Manhattan. She didn't cause this, and I don't think of her as the natural person to turn to. Why did you do your press conference there?
Absolutely. Well, the governor is the head of the state. You know, there is a crisis happening within New York City where we're seeing black homeowners lose their homes. Black and brown homeowners have their homes stolen. The governor has the power to implement a temporary stay on evictions or an eviction moratorium to keep these homeowners within their homes. There is precedence for doing this. There is legal tools within her toolbox to keep these homeowners within their homes until she makes action steps forward on preventing deed theft from happening. That includes a cease and desist zone across the city. That includes more funding for right to counsel so that these homeowners are provided lawyers. That includes more oversight over our court system to make sure that judges are being just when it comes to deed theft cases.
Yeah, at the rally earlier today, you said, or at least implied, that there are corrupt judges who are kind of getting in on this rather than doing their job properly and preventing deed theft. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So what I've heard from the coalition and what I've heard from various different people who have had their deeds stolen is that there's a lot of questions within our judicial process. The governor can implement some oversight and some overreach within our court system to make sure that there's training on the new laws that will prevent deed theft from happening and making sure that the judges and the courts are not taking advantage of these homeowners.
There was a wave of this kind of activity, a variation on it in some ways, a generation ago, leading up to the foreclosure crisis, where there were predatory loans that were going out and there were a lot of different problems. Patterns would emerge. You'd find the same players doing the same things, backed by the same financial institutions. Yeah. Are you finding that? Are there kind of organized rings that are engaged in this kind of activity?
Absolutely, which is why a huge part of this initiative, aside from what we're calling on the governor to do, is we need to fund more units within our district attorney's offices with specialized judges that will be able to take on these cases. Also, the Attorney General, I know, has been looking into some of these organized crime syndicates who are participating within deed theft. Hopefully with this eviction moratorium and temporary stay on evictions, it gives people time so that folks can stay in their homes if they're dealing with potential deed theft or foreclosure fraud until those who are stealing their deeds are held to justice.
Yeah, I think in the court system, the chief administrative judge or even the chief judge, I think they'd really be quite interested in this, and they might be able to form some kind of a space where you can sort of process a lot of these. The Mayor Mamdani, made a campaign promise. I remember you were there to create an Office of Deed Theft Prevention. What would that do?
Absolutely. So I remember standing with the mayor where he made that commitment, said that he would pledge $10 million. A lot of the efforts that were listed out within that plan would be preventative to prevent this from happening to New Yorkers. A lot of this would be awareness campaigns, know your rights for seniors. I have not, seen this plan come into fruition just yet, but I want the mayor to know that I'm here to be a partner. I'm here to be a supporter of this office to prevent deed theft, and I know that he's committed to keeping New Yorkers within their homes.
Okay, yeah, they certainly need to push it forward. Now, you have unique credibility on all of these things, because this all sounds like a very tall order. You're talking about a lot of
Does it sound like
parts.
it sounds like a tall order?
It sounds like yes, it's a big deal, because you're talking about different levels of government,
Sure.
you're talking about different offices and so forth who don't always cooperate. However, because you passed the fairness in apartment rental expenses and got those exploitative brokers' fees killed, you have some credibility here. Is it possible, where is the Real Estate Board of New York in all of this stuff? Is it possible that your former adversary might be your ally in this particular?
I have not talked to REBNY yet. Happy to have a discussion with them. I know that they're maybe a bit still sour about the FAIR Act, but if they're happy to be partners within this pursuit and ending displacement of anybody, including homeowners, then I'm happy to be a partner with them. But really looking forward to be a partner with the governor.
Yeah, you mentioned the district attorneys before. I mean, I've seen a couple of different variations on this. In some cases, it's just outright fraud. They're asking you to sign a paper, the criminal, they're telling you that the paper is one thing, the paper does something completely different, and they've taken something of value from you. That is a crime.
Absolutely.
In some ways, it's not much more complicated than that, but you alluded to it before, the district attorneys, are they overwhelmed? Are there so many cases, or do they not have the expertise?
I don't think they have the resources to take some of these cases on. That's why we are advocating for there to be more resources specifically working on deed theft cases. Sometimes it's more complex than just a stack of papers and the changing of a name, right? Especially when it goes through the court system and the judge thinks that the deed that is on that paper is of the deed thief. We need a further investigation in terms of what is happening there. And when there are some homeowners who don't have a lawyer or don't have legal representation or do not have some support from the district attorney's office, with this initiative, we will beef up the enforcement and the resources needed to bring them to justice.
Okay, in our last minute, let me ask you a politics question.
Sure.
You were thinking about running for Congress, you thought better of it, you were going to challenge Hakeem Jeffries. There's a narrative out there, I'm sure you've heard it, that socialists like yourself, democratic socialists, are challenging the establishment, many of whom happen to be Black and Latino, because that's who's running the establishment in a lot of ways. Is that real? Is that the kind of thing you talk about with some of your fellow political leaders, that, hey, we socialists have got to knock out some of these establishment people and maybe change the way politics in New York is done?
I don't think it pertains to race. I think we take a look at the districts where there are strong numbers for whoever the next mayor was elected and how many people voted for that last mayor. Sorry, the last mayor, not the next mayor. I don't think it pertains mainly to race. I think it pertains to who the elected official who's being challenged is, right? Where is their money coming from? Are they supportive of taxing the rich? Are they critical, of the genocide in Israel? I think those are some standards that some of us in the Democratic Socialists of America take a look at before deciding to challenge the powers that be.
Okay, we will see you out on the campaign trail, and we want to hear more about deed theft prevention, a really important issue. Thanks so much for coming on to tell us about it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay.